Welcome back to another live stream of Gris from Disorderly Reviews, brought to you by Transcendent Studios. I'm Peter Vawter, and if you missed yesterday's stream, it should be up and available on our YouTube channel soon at Transcendent Studios. Thanks for joining us again today. Feel free to jump in with your comments and how you're doing in chat. What Disorderly Reviews is all about is it's game reviews, book reviews, media reviews from the view of somebody who deals with PTSD and other panic disorders, in hopes that you will see if this game, this media, this item is something that can help you become who you want to be in life and work through and heal your own disorders with the helps of friends, families, and family members and counselors. So we're going to jump back into Gris. This is day 2 for me. Just as we start, you'll notice something right off the bat that I talked about in my previous stream. In how I grade games, one of the gradings for disorder, so to speak, compatibility is bite-sized. And you'll see where Gris starts us right now. Yesterday, I checked to see if there was a save setting, like where I can just save wherever I want. But there isn't. There's just a resume. So the interesting thing was, yesterday, we got up to the title screen and stopped. And I found it very interesting that the save didn't save from here, which is the Gris title screen, which is where we stopped the stream yesterday. So, moving on, I will be streaming from here today. I guess I'll call it level 1B because this was just up to the title screen, so off we go with level 1B. Again, I love a lot of the attributes of this game, namely how it moves so smoothly. Also, how she can't fall from great heights and hurt herself. I'm looking at this game from a very psychological or, again, disorder standpoint, and I love a lot of parts about it, like that, where there's little hidden things. I know many games have that, but in the larger narrative of this game, I think it's very interesting that those small lights, or what I tend to call hope in this game, can be found in hidden places, and even going backwards. I don't quite know what the color red represents in this game. It's the first of many colors to be unlocked. I'd love to hear your opinion on that down in the comments. Feel free to chime in on how this game has affected you and what you feel the deciphering of the colors means. It may be kind of a walk through these stages of grief, like anger being a first one. I find it interesting that there's so much opposition in the way of wind in this first level. I find it kind of a unique initial thing. At the same time, I feel that it's a good kind of opposition at the beginning. It's kind of ethereal and forces her to move on without really personifying any of the evils in her life, so to speak. In other words, I think it's a fairly benign and light opposition so early in the game. But to individuals who've dealt with issues of PTSD and generalized anxiety disorder, wind can almost feel almost unfair, so to speak, in a sense where you don't know what your enemy is. And I've felt that many, many times in this past 2 years after I died, where I don't have answers for how to resolve where I'm at, how to fix it. There's not just one thing I could beat up or one thing wrong with my life. It's a combination of many things. And that's always a little upsetting and difficult, because it feels like there's so much more to what's going on than I can just put my finger on. And the wind here feels like that to me, and I almost dislike that as an enemy more than I dislike some of the real opposition that comes up later. And in a sense, I guess the real opposition later in this game has its own etherealness to it as well, its own mysticalness or murkiness, or I guess the word I'm looking for is disconnectedness. A lot of the enemies in this game are mystically misty oriented and don't have a lot of substance to them, which in turn may be a great description of the reality of the things we perceive opposing us in our life. They may or may not be very substantial, but they can seem very powerful. And I've learned that as well in these past 2 years, that a lot of the things that seem horrible and substantial aren't necessarily that way. I'll be talking about that in another video. There's a great book that I'm going to share my opinions on about the amygdala and how we respond incorrectly to even small amounts of stress sometimes. And I know that's been a fact in my life. How have you responded incorrectly to stress in your life? I'd love to hear in the comments things that you did think were huge at the time, but weren't in reality. And how did you learn how to deal with that? How did you learn how to work through that? What skills have you found to fix that? And if you haven't, please share that as well. It's important to be honest about where we are in our healing process and our ability to cope with things, and especially share what we can learn from each other. Again, there's a lot of annoying things about this level, especially the kind of feeling of always being pushed back. I think that's something we can all very much relate to, so to speak, especially those of us who deal with PTSD and other issues like generalized anxiety or agoraphobia or other things. How have you felt pushed back in life, and how have you had the courage to move on? I'd love to hear about that either in chat or in the comments below this when it hits YouTube. Love to hear a bit of your story and that we can share together and work through things together. Again, I love the music here. It's so soothing. So, I don't know that I'd call it reassuring. But it's definitely kind of a music of calm. I think I have to learn a certain skill to get back through there. It really amazes me how beautiful the kind of inky swirls are of these clouds and how well they get incorporated into this game. How good it looks, how well it moves. I love the watercolor etude of it. From a very personal stance, I have a lot of friends who are watercolor artists, and I find watercolor to be one of the most interesting art forms. I call it kind of razor's edge art forms because it's one that's so easy to goof up. You can't really cover up or undo watercolor mistakes. It just turns into mud. So I love the fact that people have the guts to do watercolor. And I don't know if the artists have a personal love for it themselves, the artists of this game. But I think it's a very, personally, it's a powerful analogy to life, that things can get muddy real quick and very difficult. And that's kind of something I feel happening in this level. What are your thoughts? Do you feel like there's some more, I don't want to say demanding, but more, I guess, knife edge art forms that are very forgiving? And do you think those being represented in a game would add to that kind of feeling or mentality of the game? And do you feel like the watercolor-esqueness of this game contributes at all to how it feels? This is something that I thought of this morning. Gris kind of walking around here in a block was something that I was thinking about this morning, not necessarily her walking around as a block, but from my standpoint, I think a part of what I miss about myself when I experienced the hurt and the death and all these things that led to stress and the mental disorders I was dealing with is the loss of kind of my heart, my joy, my peace. Those are things that I regret losing, and I noticed a truth that that it's really hard to live with an open and a joyful heart when there's so much hurt and pain. And I was thinking that I don't want to lose who I am to hurt and pain and to bitterness. But there's often places that aren't safe or good to be open and to, I don't want to say be yourself, but to be so exposed. There's good friendships and there's healthy and healing things where that's feasible and appropriate. But there's also times to not block your heart in, but really determine who you want to share it with. Because there are people who don't really care about your heart. And will gladly hurt it. Simply because they don't like you. That of course is something we don't welcome or enjoy here and will not tolerate on this site. But it's something we do love to talk about. Because the more we can learn to be our true selves and respect our heart, even in the midst of opposition, confusion, hurt, the more we can continue to be ourselves all the time, which is essential to healing from disorders, confusion, PTSD, fear. These are all I've found in this past year based in a disconnect from self and from who we're truly made to be. What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel that self associates with and helps us deal with fear and disorders? Do you have any thoughts on ways to be yourself in the midst of opposition? How have you found that to be true? I'd love to hear in the comments. I don't know that I'm skilled enough to do what needs to be done over there. I think I'll go back to this hole and see what happens when I bust through it. Very gray down here. I do kind of relish the fact that I don't have much recollection of this game due to the fact of where I was when I first played it. So much depression and mental brokenness. It's neat to see it from a new standpoint. So interesting. What do you feel about this unique kind of underground black and white level? What does the reflection mean to you? What does the lack of the red from above mean to you? Do you feel like this is a bit more of a, what do they call it, a retrospective part of the game? Looking at yourself kind of like in a mirror? Did I have a proper definition of that red being anger, like the first steps through grieving? I wonder what these birds represent. So often in many cultures in the past, Hebrew and Greek and other stuff like that, birds represented usually a type of evil, a type of thing that steals or takes. What do you feel like they represented here in this this game at that moment? I found it interesting that they set us free from that location. And now we're back up here. I would say in a less retrospective view of things. More of an active attempt to get through life type part of the level. I do love the sound work of this game. It's very, I guess I'd call it fresh, almost unencumbered. Doesn't have a whole lot of noise, just subtle sounds. And the music, of course, is almost so environmental that you don't even know what's going on, which I find wonderful. Or these little crawly rock things. I think there's some symbolism to that. Again, I don't need to over-symbolize everything in this game, but would love to hear what people envision the answers to some of these questions or symbolism is to themselves. Interesting. Let's see if we can get to the left here. Certainly can. Let's see what's to be found out here. I should let it be known that I not only am really poor, as I just evidenced there, at platforming. I usually dislike it dramatically. I am such a poor platformer. I can't even beat Mario level 2 from the classic Super Mario Brothers game. I have horrible, apparently, platforming skills. I think the issue that I have discerned with Mario is that it's so controllable that it's unexpected to me. In other words, with Mario, the beauty is you can control him mid-jump, and really continue to moderate how he flies through the air. And I think when I think of a jump, I think of it kind of like or like a normal jump, in where I have very little control, so to speak, once the jump is executed. I don't quite know why I'm writing up here. Oh, there's the answer. Over to the right here, got another one of our little orbs. So there's a couple, and I feel like we've exhausted the places we can go over here. So I'll head back to the right. What type of imagery does this clockwork bring to your mind? Does it make you think of choices? Does it make you think of past you can't change? What do you feel when you look at this? Are you encouraged to move forward? Are you encouraged to think about the past? I'd love to hear your comments on that as well in the chat, or in the comments once it hits YouTube. I'd love to hear how people think about things in their past, or are open to encouragement to the future when they look at clocks. I love that as well. This whole breaking things to create new pathways. What things have you broken in your life that have created new pathways to moving forward? Like, say, maybe a job that you've left, or relationships that you've stopped for the benefit of moving forward, and have those actually helped you. What's going on here? What do we have to do with this puzzle? Find some sort of rock to put on this. Can I crunch them both at once? Interesting. Can resolve this issue. Okay, any wise person here in chat who has some insight, feel free to throw it my way. I know from many of the game individuals I've watched, they love to share exactly what the person streaming should be doing. what I'm missing. Because it looks like I'm trapped here. Maybe it's a spring thing. Nope. Don't spring up any higher. Oh, there is a way to connect with both of them at once. There you go. I just, again, need to be a little more precise. Perpetual issue with platforming. Let's see what's off to this side. Again, back to things that have a tendency to make me nervous or anxious. Platforming is one of those things. Because I so often feel like I will goof it up and end up having to forever try again. I do like that about this game, that it's tends to be quite safe in your ability to kill yourself or so to speak, get lost in a place that you aren't able to get back from. I feel like I'm missing something here. Maybe I have to go back and start up a little higher. How fun. Maybe something I need to repeat further down here. Maybe because I'm here, I can actually make it up to the top on time. Not if I jump like that. Yeah, I probably could have made that. We'll see how many times platforming Peter tries to pull this off. Ooh, hopefully once. Yay. Such a fun, creative little zone. Ooh, looks like I can break this too. Ah, perfect. So nice. love the slides. Another thing to go all analogy on this stuff that I really respect is I like how not every aspect of the environment necessarily makes sense on what you can stand on or how you should be standing on it. Some things have a tendency to look like they overlap, and that's pretty wonderful to me, actually. I love that sometimes you kind of have to see what could the path be in this moment. And I wonder how often is that like your life? Do you feel like oftentimes you're in a place that either looks like there's too many options and you don't know what is solid ground, or that almost nothing looks like solid ground and you kind of don't know how to progress forward? What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like this game kind of exemplifies the myriad of options that are available in life? As they used to say in whoops, maybe that was wrong. Maybe not. Fun. Kind of hermit crabbing. It's such an enjoyable and relaxing game to play. Again, normally I have a huge limit on what I can take either emotionally or even visually. My eyes are still healing from the sickness that I had last year, and games with a ton of movement really have an ability to, I don't want to say slow me down, but really affect me in ways that I don't enjoy. And this one is surprisingly good at not wearing my eyes out or my emotions out, usually. I do recall there being some more intense moments in this game, but I relish the general problem solving of it. I tend to not find that too terribly overwhelming. But as with everything, there are limits to what I can do and how long I can play. And I do feel like I'm kind of coming up on it. So hopefully on the next, when I resolve the next kind of segment here for what I hope will be assumed as level 2 here, we'll stop the cast and start again tomorrow. Wonder what I'm missing. Wonder if I need to turn this at all. looks like I might be able to. Or possibly get up higher. That's unique. Oh. Apparently I just need to fall with some gusto. Let's try it one more time. Twice more, thanks to my platforming prowess again. Hope this time has been enjoyable and relaxing, introspective for you, and maybe possibly helping you as well to understand more about yourself and your needs as a person, and how possibly you might also work with and deal with your PTSD, anxiety, or other disorders, and how to do it in a way that's relaxing, peaceful, and of course the most important thing is finding out more about yourself. Kind of like apparently what Gris is doing here, freshening the air of your life. That's what I hope this time is nice for, almost like as people like nowadays, ASMR for the soul. Something gentle and nice to question and think about, but that always leads you back to yourself, which is the most important place to be throughout the day, but most importantly at the end and the beginning of the day. Please share your comments on if you feel like that's what we're achieving here. I'd love to hear ways to improve that. Love to hear ways that you experience that in our time together. It's so important to be a group and work through some of these things. The color blue. Yeah, it's a deep color. Emotionally. Maybe we'll talk more about that. The color green, I guess. We'll talk more about that on our on tomorrow's stream. We'll see where this restarts, because again, I don't know if I save it or if I stop at a certain point what will happen, but I assume that color green is a good stopping off point for today's stream. So again, thank you all for joining me today. Again, please like or subscribe to us. It's absolutely free and it helps us out a lot. And we'd love to see you on other streams, and love to hear from you on the YouTube comments. So good to hear your walk through these issues as well. Have a great day, and we're all in this together. Know that you're loved and that you can make it. Have a great day.